Hey folks, welcome to a new adventure. Today, this is a pretty grim adventure. It's a story about a train disaster that happened in the local area.
Back in 1948, long time ago.
Matt Chandler might remember it. Yeah, this is the rail disaster of Manvers colliery.
As already mentioned, this train disaster happened in 1948. It was, as you can see, a Gilbert and Ellis Islands locomotive. The number that's on there is incorrect. We'll get into that a little bit later on. The train itself, just a little bit of history about the train. It was built in Crewe in 1935. So in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't an old train when it crashed. It was allocated to the Kentish Town Depot, which is where it was travelling from that day. And it went back into commission after the crash. They did fix it up and it did go back into commission. And it was withdrawn from service in September 1960 in Sheffield, and it was scrapped. It was taken back to Crewe to be scrapped, so it went back to where it was built. It was based in Sheffield mill houses from 1957 right up to 1960. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you the story of the train driver, or from the train driver's point of view. He wasn't local to this area, as I've said. He was from Kentish Town. That's where he was from. That's where his depot was. He worked from there. And he was called Bertie Wilshire. So, Bertie Wilshire, train driver based in Kentish Town Depot. He left for work on the morning of Tuesday, the 18th of May, 1948, and it was a normal day like any other. His task for that day was to collect the Gilbert and Ellis Island locomotive number 5609, along with 12 coaches, and the pilot loco, Cyprus number 5605. The train was taken from Kentish Town Depot to London St Pancras to service the 11:45am express to Bradford, where 194 passengers boarded. The journey was uneventful. That was until the train reached the Wath Road Junction, which is pretty much where we are now. It was near Manvers Main Colliery, where the train that was travelling 60 to 65 miles per hour derailed, injuring 56 people and killing 8 people, including Bertie. The train slipped down a 30-foot embankment. Local miners downed tools to help with the rescue efforts, along with firefighters and medical staff. Even the mine canteen stayed open to offer refreshments to the rescue staff. Bertie was pulled from the wreck alive, but with severe 3-degree burns and no sight, he was taken to nearby Montague Hospital in Mexborough, where he succumbed to his injuries at 6 a.m. on the 19th of May 1948. Bertie's son recalled in an interview travelling up on the train from London to Doncaster and arriving at the hospital in the dark. On the ward, his dad looked like a mummy wrapped head to toe in bandages and asking for the lights to be turned on. The lights were on, but Bertie was blinded from the crash. The cause of the crash was track distortion due to hot weather and poor track maintenance. In post-war Britain, the train was repaired at Derby Works and returned to service. It was renumbered in August 1948 to the train number, as you see it on here today, 45609, and remained in service until September 1960, where it was returned to Crewe and scrapped. Quite sadly. Just to commemorate the people that actually passed away in that train crash, Bertie Edward Wilshire, Elsie Watson, Florence May Hallas, Eric Colton, Ethel Mary Fratras, Sarah Ann Clarkson, Mary Jane Stanton, and Nora Kitson. It was quite sad, but this stone, as it says, commemorates the Wath Railway crash. But it also was erected to commemorate the people that helped, the staff that downed tools in the mine, the firefighters, the ambulance staff, everybody that was involved, because it was quite, as you can imagine, a major event, especially back in 1948, which was post-war Britain. Things got overlooked.
Yep.
Things were not repaired as quickly as they should have been. So the heat on the track distorted the track itself, and it just one of those freak occurrences. It wrong place, wrong time, and it threw the train off, derailed it. If we can find some photographs of the actual disaster itself, we will
include them in, yeah.
Because obviously it was a big thing. I know there are some bits of footage about, but there's not a lot on this disaster at all. This stone itself was only recently erected, I would say, within the last sort of 15 years or so, you know.
Yeah,
so
it's not been up long.
It's not been up a huge amount of time. But it was commissioned by Rotherham Council. And this really irks me. It's a bugbear. I've got to say it. That train number is incorrect. It's factually and historically incorrect. It's the new train number. That was from August of 1948. The train crash itself happened in May 1948, and the number didn't have a 4 on the front of it. Afterwards, they changed all the locomotive numbers. I think some companies might have merged together and things like that, so they renumbered everything. Some had a 4 added on front. Other, different companies had a different number added on front, so you knew where they originated from. But it just really grinds my gears, does that, because such as us, we can find the information. As I said, my mum was born in 1948, so it was within my parents' lifetime. It's easy enough to find information, but future generations might look at this, want to do some research and not be able to find the research because that number is wrong.
Yeah.
And that, it's sad, and for a couple of local historians that, you would have thought they'd have got that.
You'd have thought that they got it right.
Got that right.
But
I won't mention any names, they know who they are. Get in touch with us.
Yeah.
If you do want to see
video.
This video, I will quite happily have a conversation as to why you've bugged me so much. But one of them is a councillor.
Well,
enough said.
A Labour councillor. That.
Yeah, definitely enough said. But it's just such an important piece of information that's just incorrect. And yes, it's only one number off.
But it's still wrong.
It could be really important for future generations to find more information on this. So rest in peace to all 8 of the people that passed away in that terrible disaster. I hope you found the peace that you well deserved. And to most others now, I'm guessing, are probably either not here or there certainly won't be many of them left.
No.
The survivors.
Now they're not. I thought there'd be many left now.
Not at all. Not unless they were only children at the time. But it is a nice monument to something. It's kind of hidden away. We are on the main road. You can probably hear the traffic, but It's kind of hidden away in an industrial estate, which as it is now, but this land where we're stood was Manvers colliery.
Yeah.
You know, everything that, you know, we do a lot on here, you know, we talk a lot, or I certainly talk a lot, because this is where my dad worked for most of my childhood, my young childhood anyway. And, you know, it was a big part of the community in this area. This land, this mine, was pretty much all that anybody did. You know, you were born, you were brought up to work in the pit.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's how it was until Margaret Thatcher got in power and resolved that issue. But you know, this whole area now is just an industrial. It's all industrial.
All
units,
industrial parks, yeah.
Apart from the wetlands on Oldmore, which is an RSPB site, so Royal Society for Protection of Birds, and that's an area that I visit quite a lot for my mental health. So one day I might take you for a wander around there, because it's really peaceful. It's quite nice, and it's nice to have something like that around here that's on old pit ground. But you will certainly hear a lot about pit disasters and things like that from us, because we were
It's a
born.
mining area.
Yeah, we were born and brought up in mining areas, so it's a big part of our local history. But it's nice we got to tell Bertie's story today.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on another adventure. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll catch you on the next one.
See you
See you later.